You are entering The Take Up, a place to gather when the film is over. I'm your host, Joshua Ray, and I'm here with my co-host and the managing editor of thetakeup.com, Andrew Wyatt. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Today we are processing The Dead Don't Die. That's our guest, Alec McPherson's pick for the My Favorite Movie Year program. First, we've got some films now showing. And finally, we'll have one more thing. Did you guys see Challengers?
I
No.
did, yeah.
Andrew, why didn't you see Challengers? What's wrong? Are you okay?
I guess I just need to find the right two people to see it with.
I will go with you. Shit, anyone. I will go with anyone. I don't care. But just be prepared for like me reacting. Remember how we saw May, December?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see this movie.
Oh, okay. I like reactive Josh in the movie theater.
Yeah, you know I'm having a good time when I'm like and like, oh my God. Sometimes when I'm watching Challengers, I could feel like everyone sort of looking at me because I know I was like vibrating with an energy of I can't believe this is happening, or Luca, leave me alone. You are very much being too much right now. Alex McPherson, Pop Life STL.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I'm honored to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Alex, how are you?
I mean, I enjoyed Challengers. I don't know. It felt kind of empty to me by the end of it. Like very, very enjoyable in the moment, but it felt, it is a soap opera, but there was a certain point I wasn't sure how much it wanted me to get emotionally involved in it or how much it was just kind of poking fun at these people as well.
I totally understand what you're saying. In fact, the next day I talked to a friend and was like, I always kind of distrust my first reaction to a film that I have that sort of reaction to, like the May December, like other Luca Guadagnino films, that the films that give me that kind of like I don't know, like sensual, high octane filmmaking and the sort of melodrama of it all. Like, am I just coasting on my reaction of pure adrenaline to the thing?
That's a valid
something
reaction.
there?
That's a valid
And
reaction.
and I think that's totally fine to have that kind of reaction to filmmaking. I mean, this movie is, ostensibly about the body and bodies in motion, and it enacting this kind of reaction to me is sort of the way that you play tennis, the way that the film plays with you. And I think there is a lot more going on in the gender politics of it, and the idea of kind of, drafting that onto a tennis game is pretty exciting to me. I'm not a fan of the film Jules and Gem, but I feel like I finally get it. Like, this is my version of Jules and Gem. But I can see where the claims of emptiness would come from. I just don't feel that. When a film rocks me the way that did, and the final shot leaves me the way it does, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down. So I talked all around it because everybody knows what it's about, and I'm not going to spoil anything for Andrew. But we all have seen hundreds of beavers.
Yes.
What a segue.
And definitely not in Challengers. Anyway, hundreds of beavers. I reviewed it on KMOV, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
When it played the Webster University film series. And I remember people in the studio kind of looking at me on the prompter for when the trailer was showing on screen and being like, what is he doing? What is he making us look at now? But as I understand it, the screening at Webster went down pretty well. We had local screening at the Arcadon as well. That was pretty successful. What'd you two make of it?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's one of my favorite movies of the year so far for just its inventiveness and I guess, yeah, just constant creativity. Like each thing builds upon the next. Like And it's just I had no idea where it was headed, and it was just really funny to me. A lot of different inspirations, especially like video games played a big role. It's kind of structured like a video game, which I guess is
Yeah.
not to everyone's taste, and kind of like I do think it might be a bit too long for the kind of movie it is. But
That's my only kind of
yeah.
complaint with it is it's the energy that it brings is unique, and it takes a lot for my ADD brain because my brain actually works that way when it's not just complete quiet empty. So it's kind of exhausting to me to watch this. I wanted to break it up into little, like, Cartoon Network size chunks, like 15-minute chunks.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah, I can't not agree with you with the kind of inventiveness that's going on. Andrew, would you make?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't know quite. It took me about like maybe 5 minutes to sort of acclimate to myself to what exactly the heck it was doing. But once I was on board with it, I was on board with it all the way. I think inventiveness is the right word. Like it's not a film that exists independent in a vacuum. It exists within a lot of other influences. Alec mentioned video games. I think that's a very important, but and not in the sense of the same way that like a movie like Run Little Run or Edge of Tomorrow like just sort of cribs from the idea of restarting your character over and over again. There's structural similarities to platformers, to survival game genres and so forth that are integrated into this film really effectively in a way that I haven't seen other films use interactive tropes and interactive structure. There's some like deliberate homages to specific things. Like if you've played Donkey Kong Country, some of these scenes will seem really familiar.
Mhm.
Mario 64. There's some Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in there in terms of the way that things are physically constructed. But there's also a lot of cinematic influence. There's some Monty Python. There's some Guy Madden. There's some Wes Andersons. There's some like Looney Tunes, like Tex Avery area Looney Tunes. There's some Soviet like fantasy filmmaking conventions in there, which is really interesting. So the fact that it's pulling from all these different things and at the same time it still feels very fresh. The velocity, Josh, you talked about how exhausting it can feel. I think of that as like a feature, not a bud. Like the sheer momentum of this movie is part of what grabbed me. ADHD is definitely the right word. Not to put too fine on a point on it. I watched this and then recommended it to my mother-in-law and her family, and my neurodivergent nephew has watched it 6 times in the space of a week. He absolutely
So
loves it,
cute.
which is totally on brand for both him and this movie. I
I
feel
mean,
like
I
it's a
just
movie that
like thinking about kids watching this and finding it as a gateway to Buster Keaton or something, as
right,
long
right.
as someone
It's
opens that gateway to it. But that's
It
what's
definitely,
really
yeah.
interesting about it is it's sort of collapsing the history of the medium and visual media altogether.
I mean,
I
there's a lot of the gold rush in here. It's like
sure,
it's a
yeah.
gateway to Charlie Chaplin. So like I I both appreciate it very much. I'm with Alec. I think it's definitely going to be on my like top 10 list, top 20 list because it
Yeah.
feels like both a gateway to other things and a unique thing in all of itself. It's a debut feature. The filmmaker hasn't made a feature like film before. Although my impression is that his short films are similarly sort of weird and multimedia in nature.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just like gags for the sake of gags either. Like I do think it does have some, I mean, some simple themes to it for sure, but I mean, yeah, because the guy's kind of becoming like a he's harnessing all the elements of nature to get the girl basically by the end of it. So, I mean, there is some commentary in there for sure.
I liked the humor despite myself. I sort of wanted to be cynical and pessimistic about the humor and ended up sort of just grinning from ear to ear by the end. You know, I'm a big fan of taking a joke and running it into the ground over and over and over again. And as many times as that, you know, furrier guy missed the spittoon, it
Yeah.
slayed me every time. I don't care that it was old and tired, and by the 20th time, I still wanted to see it over and over again.
Yeah, I get that as someone who runs jokes into the ground constantly. Well, now I have the feeling that the time for doing something has passed. What does that mean, Andrew?
So this is a debut narrative feature from filmmaker Joanna Arno. She's kind of a multi-hyphenate indie fixture for a while now. She made a documentary, sort of a memoirish documentary about a relationship that she had with a poet and cultural provocateur. But this is her first narrative feature, and I was really impressed with it. I don't believe, unfortunately, it's playing here in St. Louis yet. It's opened in New York about a week or two ago. She sort of, Arno plays a character named Anne, who's sort of self-insert, in my impression. She's just sort of a 30-something Brooklynite Jewish American girl trying to make her way in the world, not really knowing where she's going or what she's doing. She's working this sort of dead-end corporate job. She has a very passive-aggressive family. Her relationships are probably the most interesting thing about her. She is very kinky and into BDSM culture, and so all her and specifically being a sub, so a lot of her relationships are with dominant men and have a very sort of non-emotional, transactional quality to them. She has sort of like some long-term masters that she sees regularly, which is interesting, and the film sort of plays that for both realism and humor, which is really interesting way to go with it. It's a very deglamorized depiction of sort of BDSM culture, but I think it's a mistake to view that as sort of the subject matter of the film. The subject matter of the film is sort of the familiar thing we've seen before, which is sort of millennial protagonist in existential crisis. Even crisis isn't exactly right because it implies more urgency than this character than Anne has in her life. She's just kind of floating through life, not really knowing what she's doing or who she is or what she's about. And it's a movie about that, about being stuck like that and not really sure where you're going. And then from that perspective, the BDSM relationships make a lot of sense because when she's in these exchanges or relationships, or I don't know how you'd call them, with these dominant men, her role is very clearly defined. And meanwhile, she's working this like vague officey corporate job that she doesn't even have. They can't even agree on what the title of her role at the company is. So I liked it a lot. It's super deadpan and super dry. Some people might see it and be like, where are the jokes exactly? It's one of those kind of comedies, which I really like. If you've seen like Riley Stearns or Harmony Korine, we talked about Harmony Korine a few weeks ago. It's kind of on that same wavelength. Although I get a lot of like Scandinavian vibes from it too, specifically like Aki Kaurismäki, Match Factory Girl, or particularly Roy Anderson, who I'm a big fan of. She does a lot of these. A lot of the film is sort of assembled. She's an editor as well as a director and star, and she assembles the film with like almost like vignettes. Like every scene has a little snippet of Anne's life and giving you a sense for what's going on with her. It sort of jumps back and forth between, oh, okay, now she's in the bedroom with one of her masters, and now she's at the office, and now she's at dinner with her family, and it kind of jumps around like that. Really fantastic, like mise en scene, really fantastic direction. So really good film. I recommend it with the acknowledgement that the humor is very dry and maybe not to everybody's taste, but I quite enjoyed it. It feels definitely like somebody who's sort of been honing their comedic voice, their very dry, deadpan comedic voice for a while, and is sort of breaking out really strong with their first narrative feature.
It's getting a lot of great reviews too. It's showing theatrically, right? I don't know if it's showing. It has shown in town now.
I haven't seen anything here or VOD or streaming, unfortunately. I'm keeping an eye on it, and if we come back to another later show and I find out if I have a VOD date or a local premiere, I'll let you know. I do recommend it.
All right, one final film that's now showing, well, its time has passed, is the Ryuichi Sakamoto documentary Opus, which is the
concert film, really.
Concert film, yeah, from the recently departed, fucking magician, like actor, rock star, composer, just all around kind of artistic Renaissance man. I didn't get to see this one. You two have. What'd you make of it? And have you seen Coda? And how does it compare?
Well, I mean, I feel like the theater was like the prime place to watch this.
Right.
Because it is a concert movie and there's no like talking heads or anything. It's just him playing for 2 hours. But I found it incredibly moving and stylistically resonant.
It is just him at the piano for the 2 hours,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. It's a bit like, so for those who aren't familiar with it, it's a bit like he's playing a medley of his greatest hits. And I think a lot of people might sort of look askance at that, but I think it works really well, as Alex says, within the style of the film. The film is shot by his son, is my understanding, directed by his son, all in black and white, all sort of just him and the piano, but there is a lot of sort of camera movement around him and a lot of different angles, but you're really just getting it's not a true sort of medley in the sense that he's not transitioning from one to the others. He's basically playing like 24 different short selections of some of his most famous works, but the overall effect feels like a medley to me, at least to me it did.
And like sometimes it's like very obvious that he's playing in a room like surrounded by microphones, and other times they like make all that, go away in the background. So it's like, and I also feel like they kind of like the different camera movements kind of make it so that like the piano is like he's becoming the piano kind of at some points. And I think like even just the black and white and how he's dressed, it kind of even looks like a piano key.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense because he's at least aware that he's dying at this point. I mean, does the film make mention of the fact that he's kind of on death's door?
No,
Because he dies of a pretty aggressive cancer.
If you have no context, like all you would get was the final title card, which gives his birth and death date. Like there's no context. If you come to this movie not knowing who he is or what the story is or having seen Coda, that's not immediately clear. But that's not to say you can't enjoy it. Like it is a pretty great concert film, minimalistic though it is, of one of the late great masters. Have you seen Coda yet?
No, I haven't seen it. But
highly recommended. Very different. It's not that one is a true documentary, not a concert film. Sort of documentary about him dealing with his cancer and trying to continue to create and compose while he's dealing with that. Very highly recommended. One of the better musical sort of biodocs I've seen in recent years.
Well, Coda I know is on Movie, and this one should be hitting streaming or on demand soon.
Hopefully.
Very cool. Well, you know what's on Max right now?
Yeah.
Jim Jarmusch's The Dead Don't Die. Alex, you have picked what is surely in a string of controversial picks going to be a controversial pick for this episode. All right. So this is the last a masterpiece, he says.
Whoa.
I did see a log. I did see some letterbox logs. I have to say, Alex, among my friends, you are an outlier, sir. But I'm really excited to dig into it. I think it's going to be a really fun conversation. Alex McPherson, his pick, The Dead Don't Die, for the year 2019.
Excuse me, we're closed. Get away from me!
What the hell was it? A wild animal? This is really awful. Maybe the worst thing I've ever seen.
What was it, wild animals?
So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking zombies.
What?
You know, the undead. Ghouls.
All right, this is it. This is our last episode of My Favorite Movie Year, taking us to, the present. Because nothing has really changed in the world that much since 2019. So it definitely feels just like yesterday. Just like yesterday. Actually, The Dead Don't Die kind of feels more like now than 2019. It did have a little patina of COVID on it. Maybe I shouldn't start there. Maybe I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Hi, Alex. Thanks for picking this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it is a controversial pick, but like I've seen it like 6 times, and I keep going back to it. Like,
well, lay out your case. I think you'll find that everybody, like Josh and I know, are both Jarmusch fans, right, Josh? I'm not assuming.
I don't know. I don't know.
We've both seen this movie before.
Yes.
But we're interested to hear you make the case for why this film is not just, a good movie in its own right, but a good sort of exemplar of 2019 and a masterpiece in its own right.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess I should provide some like background on The Dead Don't Die. But so it's I mean, set in the present day in a small town of Centerville, Pennsylvania, fictitious town, and there is uh, like polar fracking that makes the Earth tilt on its axis, so it causes a zombie outbreak to be
Now,
unleashed upon this small town. And
does that mean what I think it means? I don't understand what polar fracking is supposed to be.
I mean, I don't really understand either, and the residents of Centerville don't get it either because they're all just going about their
Is
routine,
it is
watching
it
on TV.
explicit though in the film? That's my question. I feel like this is a
No.
film that leaves a lot of ambiguity about what exactly is causing this, because
Right.
it kind of plays with weird changes in daylight and time, and it's one of those, the world is off its axis metaphorically in a lot of different ways, it seems like, in the context of this film. And the film never explicitly points its finger at this is what's causing it. But polar fracking, I assume, is just fracking that happens in the polar regions. I guess, I don't know.
I guess that's what I was assuming, but I thought maybe it had something to do with poles that our north and like shifting the poles in order to do time slippages, and I don't know, but then the moon is glowing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why is the moon anyway?
Well,
Everything in this, I'm trying to figure out why. Like, is there a key to this that will unlock something in it? Okay, we're getting different head shakes. Alex, please continue. Please continue.
I mean, I think it's about just our passivity in the face of like an impending apocalypse. Like, I mean, Jarmusch is talking specifically about climate change here and like an existential threat that like we are all aware that it's happening, and like getting worse and worse. And we are kind of, I mean, I don't think we're powerless to stop it, but like when we just look at ourselves, it's like, what can we do to fight back? And so I think the whole movie is kind of a condemnation of that viewpoint of just sitting back and kind of letting the apocalypse happen and just going about like our days and like our consumerist urges and everything, which is kind of what like the zombies are doing in this movie. I mean, kind of heavy-handedly, I admit.
Iggy Pop and Sarah Driver are their character names are female coffee zombie and male coffee zombie because all they do is say coffee. This is pretty good Iggy
Yeah.
Pop.
But it's like all these characters, I mean, they're not like inherently bad. I mean, except for Steve Buscemi, who's like the obvious like Trump supporter characters. There's no redeeming qualities about him in the movie, really. But yeah, so yeah, everyone's just going about their lives. The apocalypse happens, and then zombies show up, and it's like they don't have, like, in theory, they don't have the means to like avoid it because like the repercussions of it have just shown up on their doorstep and they can't avoid it anymore. But like they still continue to either just go about their lives or like half-heartedly fight back against it. Yeah, they're all doomed. It's like they just give in to their passivity and just keep going on.
It's interesting that in a filmography that like Jarmusch's wider filmography, I wouldn't regard as a particularly uplifting one. He can be kind of a dark filmmaker, but this, in a weird way, scans as like one of his most deeply pessimistic movies he's ever made, I think.
Yes.
Like it is we're all like Tom Waits like monologue over the final moments of the movie just sort of lays it out for us that we're all fucked. There's nothing we can do. And there's nothing noble or romantic about that. It's just awful and terrible.
Before we get to the doom and gloom at hand, can I just talk a little bit about what the way this film is representing this community with a galaxy of stars? So it's that every sort of vignette or a thread of plot in this is made immediately recognizable as something because there is a movie star there. Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tom Waits, Chloe Sevigny, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Caleb Landry Jones, RZA, Larry Fessenden, Rosie Perez, Carol Kane is just a dead body. Tilda Swinton, Iggy Pop, Sarah Driver, Austin Butler, Selena Gomez, and of course, Sturgill Simpson.
Austin Butler popping in like I had forgotten that he was in this. He popped in like a jump scare. It's like, oh shit, it's Elvis.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, wasn't he prepping for Elvis at that time? Wouldn't he have been prepping for it? So you can kind of hear the voice modulation happening in there. But every single strain in this is there's someone in there. And of course, like everybody wants to be in a Jarmusch film. But I think it also gets to something that you're talking about, Alex, is this kind of self-awareness, but also a self-awareness that we're all gonna just die and we can see what's happening. There's Adam Driver plays like a deputy sheriff in this, and he's pretty much on the case with Bill Murray and Chloe Sevigny. They're like the trio of cops in it. And Adam Driver, this is me trying to unlock the key to the thing. And I think I'm giving it more credit than what it actually is, and is just trying to be a cutesy meta movie moment. But it's also a little bit back to what you're saying about this blank stare into the abyss, where Adam Driver, they hear the theme song, The Dead Don't Die. That's Sturgill Simpson. Why do they keep playing it? That's the theme song.
Yeah, the meta flourishes are something I really still don't know how to feel 100% about.
I bristle at them because I don't know that, and this is the problem I have with the film at large. I don't know that it's executed in the best manner or in the cleverest way, or even in like a funny way, or a way that I feel like there's some meat to it, forgive the pun. But then even at the end of the film, he's like, no, I've read the script. Of course, Alex, we were chatting a little bit before this about the surprise presence of a different genre that creeps into this film, which got me thinking that, he probably needs to complete his horror trilogy if he's going to do it. With Only Lovers Left Alive, which is a fucking banger masterpiece. I think everyone agrees. Right. Right. But I wish it would just go a little bit even further, or I don't know. It all feels as if Jarmusch himself is complacent in all of it.
Complacent or complicit?
Complacent.
Oh,
like
okay.
he's also not that concerned about it, which he's not very concerned about much. He's Mr. Cool.
I mean, in like the context of like the movie's universe, like he's kind of like God or whatever. Like he's writing the script for humanity's decline, And
Yeah.
so
I mean, that's where his misanthropy sort of comes out, right? Is that Jarmusch is not only the author implicitly, but explicitly, because the characters talk about him. Like this is, again, comes out to me, having seen it twice now, it comes off as a very sour film in the sense that Jarmusch is letting his own misanthropy sort of ooze into the text of the film in a way he hasn't. Maybe he's kept his distance a little more in some of his previous films, and it just feels like a very sort of dire message in that respect.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like completely hopeless because you have those 3 kids in juvie who know what's going on and are willing to take action, but it's kind of funny because like when they finally like escape, then the film, like, we don't see what happens to them. It's like the film isn't even bothered to follow them because they are a thread of hope in this movie. And like the whole movie's just set in Centerville, repeating like the same shots and in a way like just the endless cycles there, but it's like we don't break off to do something new. And like some might view that as like a problem with the movie that we just leave that thread hanging, but I think it's part of like the structure and style of the movie that we don't see what happens to them.
Well, I think it's a deliberate omission in the
Yeah.
sense that because the movie goes out of its way in so many other places to deliberately kill in a gruesome, very gruesome way, all the characters who, in a traditional sort of tropey movie, horror movie, should survive. Like Selena Gomez should not die 40 minutes into the movie in another kind of horror
Having
movie.
watched it the
Off
second
screen.
time, I forgot that she just dies off screen.
Yeah. So I think when he's explicitly not telling us what the fate of the three juvie kids is, you're right. That's like the slender reed of hope. The other one being that the weirdest, most outsidery person in the town ends up sort of surviving by being whisked away.
But yeah, it's like she's kind of an alien just like surveilling humanity and just like playing with us, like
Another meta commentary on Tilda Swinton,
Right.
who is an alien playing with us.
it's just like when she's like, let's go to the cemetery at the end, it's like she's like daring Bill Murray to say, no, let's not do that. But then he just kind of he's given up at that point too. He's just like going through the motions. He's like, I just want to retire. I'm
Is
done.
that a meta commentary on Bill Murray as an actor as well?
Maybe, yeah.
He just can't.
See,
He just seems so exhausted in this movie. His character, at least.
That's why I'm trying to dig into all of the details in there. But ultimately, I sort of get a shrug from this. I don't even get this sort of really acidic, cynical strain that you get from it, Andrew. I get that might be there in the back as like in background as intention, but the execution of it to me is just so lackadaisical, but and not in the very charming or poetic way that that word can be deployed to describe Jarmusch's other work. I did it in a kind of trilogy with Ghost Dog, which I hadn't seen, and Patterson, which are two unique films for him. But then you look at his filmography since, I don't know, Dead Man, and I guess everything's sort of been genre deconstructionist or different from what came before in the first half of his career, which I think you can really pigeonhole him as like a music hipster guy. But I did notice the strain in those two as well about the kind of hopeful nature of children and the way that younger people prop up in these films that are like the kind of bright star in these sort of depressing worlds, in these black holes that he presents. So then getting to that point in this film, it is it is kind of encouraging that he's given the stage to these three like younger unknown actors, but then there's like a series of a trio of trios in this, and yet I don't know exactly, like it's not the same, it doesn't work for me in the same way that the twinning, the literal twinning in Patterson is talking about like life's rhymes and how that works into the poetry of the film. And we can get into whether or not that's good for that, but I don't know what the purpose is here. Is it just cute?
No, I think it's just more genre subversion. Like he presents us with different sets of characters, triads of characters, as you say, who in a more straight horror film or a less deconstructionist horror film would certainly survive, or maybe not necessarily have the fates that we would think. I mean, we have the cops and we have the out of town hipsters, right? And then there's and then there's the kids from juvie, but there are other places. Again, I think of it as more as like he's just showing us anyone
the
can
different
die.
iterations of this
anyone can
film.
die. And the fact that, again, to go back to the juvie kids, the fact that we don't see them for sure leaves a question mark. It isn't a full-fledged they definitely got away and made it to safety. It's we're explicitly not showing you with their threads ripped out, and we're going to leave it at that.
But again, it does feel like everything is self-aware in this. Every moment is sort of self-aware, even down to like Caleb Landry Jones being a like creepy little hobbit calling him in a gas station, to Selena Gomez being just like Selena Gomez. What is this line she says? Your film knowledge is impressive.
The little stars appear around her.
It's very cute. Yeah, it's very cute. But everything about Tilda Swinton's character, to her being like some sort of alien, Scottish alien life form who's like impossibly cool. Hold on, I want to talk more about this character, to the Star Wars keychain. And I'm just like, all of it, like, it's kind of too cute to be Jarmusch. Like, it doesn't.
I don't know. The way that Tilda says excellent film in reference to Star
Excellent
Wars.
fiction. Yeah.
Excellent fiction. Yeah.
Excellent. I do like the margins of that character when she goes into the police station initially and asks Chloe Sevigny if she's in a couple with Adam Driver, which kind of implies that Tilda Swinton's character is interested in Adam Driver and then like wants to take his car. I want this movie. Like, I love that.
The way she calls everybody by their full name.
Yes.
And title.
Yeah. I love, and it doesn't seem like, I mean, Tilda's always great. I don't think that's up for debate. She adds a little bit to this. I mean, I think she's the best part of the film, but there's also, it's written there, right? Like all of this kind of stuff with this character where I didn't feel that was very present with some of the other characters. Like, I just want to watch the Hangout movie about this person, but maybe that might end up being too much of a good thing.
I did like the film as a bit more the second time, if only because I was able to set my expectations about what exactly it's doing. And I appreciated the script of it. Is more like the very deadpan humor. I think I appreciated it a little bit more. There's a exchange between the diner and the cleaning lady about Zelda Fitzgerald that for some reason tickled me endlessly this time. I don't even remember it from the first time I saw it. But
what does she call her? She's the Great Gatsby's wife.
Yeah, and she's like, the Great Gatsby, Robert Redford,
the Robert Redford guy. Yeah,
I don't know why that's funny. It's just
cute.
funny. It's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, I keep coming back to it just because the Adam Driver, Bill Murray combo, just their deadpan, just scenes together are just, I don't know. I mean, I think it works as a hangout movie. You spend a little bit of time with these characters. They're quirky. I mean, they aren't especially like deep, but like it's kind of the point. Like, we don't get to learn about them. Like, they lead pretty simple lives, and then they're doomed,
Well, and even Adam Driver's character, right, who is arguably the most competent character in the film other than Tilda. And because like he immediately groks the situation to everybody else's disbelief. He knows exactly what movie he's in.
Yeah.
Because he's read the
script, right. But he also just sort of responds to everything with sort of a sensible practicality. But that doesn't save him. Like, he still dies just as messily as Bill Murray's character dies at the end. Like, so again, there's this sort of pessimism to it that I detect where it's like, it doesn't matter that if you know the script, literally, it doesn't matter if you are calm and rational and competent, you're still gonna end up in the same place everybody else does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just kind of a cog in the machine. Like, he knows it's gonna happen. He's just like, oh, oh well.
I like all of these ideas, and for me, I guess it's just the devil's in the details here. And I like the tone, I like the rhythm of this movie. It moves a bit quicker than other Jarmusch's, which isn't saying much. I mean, it's still like a very kind of sedate film, even for a zombie film. It's a hangout movie for sure.
That to be happening during the apocalypse, I guess.
Can I ask Alex, what level of Jarmusch fan are you?
Well, I haven't seen all of his filmography, but I can really vibe with the way his characters talk and the deeper themes of all his work. So, I mean, I feel like I'm on Jarmusch's wavelength for sure. And The Dead Don't Die does feel more, I mean, his movies are fairly harsh generally, but yeah, a lot more pessimistic than his other works for sure. But I consider myself a pretty big fan.
Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, it's a little odd because I would necessarily put him in like my top 10 directors or anything, but he is one of those directors that I've seen almost everything he's made. I think I was writing an essay years ago, I think about Only Lovers Left Alive, and it like motivated me to go out and see all the things I hadn't seen yet. So He is sort of like Lynch, I think, in that he's like one of those American directors that I've been sort of weirdly completionist about.
David Lynch, I think it's a lot easier to be.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like Lynch, I could say is probably like a top 5 director for me, but Jarmusch isn't that. But I have seen almost everything he's made. I think his very first feature, the preceded Strangers in Paradise, I don't think it's the
Permanent Vacation.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I think it's the
I
only
think that's
movie
on the Criterion Blu-ray of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's the only feature of his I haven't seen yet. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Like the things of his that I like, I really like. I really love Dead Man. I really love Down by Law. I really love Mystery Train. So yeah, Only Lovers, of course.
I think I only love Only Lovers Left Alive.
Really?
Like to me, it is the ideal of whatever he's always trying to do. And this apocalyptic idea in it, and the specificity of these characters, of the tone, the mood, and the world that's built around it, and how intricately detailed it is, but it feels as if you're playing and living in it, and that it is so kind of low stakes, but it's also about the biggest thing about love and death. From his other films, they feel a lot more labored to me, which I know is a weird thing to say about, like I said, Mr. Cool. But even watching Ghost Dog and Patterson, there were things about them that I like could see. Well, that's not really fair to those films because they both have a lot of on-screen text. But I could see Jarmusch sort of like the writerliness of them.
That's fair. I do like Patterson a lot too. You could argue that the laboriousness is kind of the point with Limits of Control.
Well, that's one I haven't seen because of that reputation, but you've referenced it a few times, so it's on my list. Like, I want to catch up with him because everything that he makes is of interest. There's nothing in his filmography that is, that is boring to me that I've seen so far. And even the setups of these other films that I haven't seen, like I haven't seen Coffee and Cigarettes, where it's like 11 vignettes of Jim Jarmusch. Like, I want to see that with all these people. Like, I want to see Kate Blanchett
you want to see Bill Murray and RZA shooting the shit. The
Yes.
Alfred Molina Steve Coogan bit in Coffee and Cigarettes is like a brilliant comedy short in its own right.
It's really good. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
don't.
Like, yeah, okay, but like more broadly, like I think The Dead Don't Die, it has even grown in significance since it first came out. Like with the pandemic especially, just like all these things converging on us like seemingly like right now,
Yeah, that is one thing I wanted to bring up about it, is that it has grown in significance or recognizability because of the pandemic. But maybe I'm on TikTok too much. I'm thinking about the day that we lost. I'm gonna get into like conspiracy theory things. Just this whole idea of our power grid going down, and what are we gonna do? And we're all just going to die. And maybe you're right, Andrew. Maybe this is the most pessimistic work, and maybe that's why I'm like, meh, because I just know that that's gonna happen. And now I'm the Adam Driver character.
Well, I do want to be clear when I say it's pessimistic, and this is in the context of, it's sort of a prescient COVID position, right? Is that it isn't that necessarily that it's like operatically bleak movie. I don't mean that.
No.
It's not Requiem for a Dream, right?
No, the
It's
tone
more-
of it is very calm, chill, and sedate, but funny.
Yeah, I think that's why I keep going back to it, because that tone.
Yeah.
It's very much there's nothing we can do about this. This is our fate. Every one of us. Oh well.
You're right.
And it's like we're just sitting here watching this movie about this hopeless situation too. Like I like movies that kind of make me feel bad like that,
I mean, Dead Man isn't exactly an uplifting ending either. It's sort of
None of them are. That fucking dog eats his poetry. Like, what
maybe that's why you like Only Lovers, because it has maybe the happiest ending. The lovers end up where they together
just forever.
Hunting at night.
Also, it's sexy.
Yeah, that helps too.
Well, I think there are more uplifting things to say about 2019. Spoiler alert, there's not. I looked at my list again. Let's move on. Let's talk about 2019 as a whole. And Alex, why 2019? The very recent past.
I
5
mean,
years ago.
yeah. I mean, just like it was a very, like, looking back on it, it was a very surreal time just before, a lot of shit hit the fan with the pandemic and everything. But
Yeah.
it's just, there were just a million like amazing movies that came out. Like, we got Climax, which I rewatched recently.
Well, before we get into it, tell us a little bit about, like, were you working as a film critic? Because you're younger than the two of us. I had just started working really for a couple of years on with Andrew at the Lens. But this is one of the years that I did publish, one of the first years I published a top 10. Well, of course, there was a lot more than 10. I love a list. But were you working at the time as a film critic?
Yeah, well, I was writing for the Index at Truman State University's paper, so I'd been doing that for a couple of years, and I was like still like developing my voice as a critic, but yeah, so it was a very like formative time for like my writing as well.
Well, I understand how, like, those particular years, I think that came up with Andrew and Shannon, and their picks were years that they had personal affinity or like a great growth. I didn't in 1980, for the record. I was born in 86. But 2019, just looking at the list, my personal list of films, these are films that I come back to. And I often look at my old lists and I don't always feel that way. Like, I'll always have fond memories for some of the things, but this is a lot of films that I watch a lot. So of more recent years, I gotta agree with you. This is a pretty great one. Okay, so Climax, a movie I hate. You started with one that I hate.
What?
Do you Climax? No, I didn't mean to say that. Andrew.
Yeah, I love Climax. It might be one of my favorite drugs are bad movies.
It is a good drugs are bad movie. Yeah. I know you've got like a handful or more things, Alex. Let's hear some of them. So you got Climax.
Yeah. And so we also have Jojo Rabbit, which is a movie I've gone back to many, many times. I think is incredible.
Yeah, I think it's incredible in some way. Yeah.
Josh is not a fan of Jojo Rabbit.
But
between the three of us, we'll probably end up covering every film that came out in 2019.
Yeah. Okay, what about Parasite though? Parasite, I just rewatched Parasite yesterday and I was like, I forgot just how emotionally devastating it is, and just it is a real roller coaster.
The genre swerves, I think, the first time I saw it. I did not know much of anything about it going in. And so like that there's moments where that movie pivots on a dime into something completely different than what you thought it was going to be. And that's a hard, I revisited it since and I really do like it, but that's a hard sort of lightning to recatch. Like your first time with Parasite is where it's at,
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah, I mean, I was just like emotionally invested in it, like just like the first time I watched it. It's just like Bong Joon-ho, he's such a master of navigating tones and making like characters you initially detest, like finding like layers to them. And yeah.
Yeah, I do love that about him. That's one that to me feels like a little like it's too perfect. Does that make sense?
No,
well, but
explain.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Explain.
Bong Joon-ho is someone who I love for the rough edges, for the kind of wild swings. And while this one has wild twists and turns, they all feel very perfected. They don't feel the kind of like wild out of like there's lightning strikes out of the universe like Mother or The Host. I think about that scene in The Host where they in the hospital after someone's dead or someone goes missing and they all just fucking collapse and slip and are like going fucking insane, slipping and sliding around on the floor in the midst of this monster movie. And I think about that as Bong Joon-ho, to whereas Parasite is just a little perfect little clock. And that's fine that it is that. I'm excited to see his next thing too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when Parasite like won Best Picture, like I know like I don't know the broader significance of that, but at least in my like circle and family and friends, like it felt like a movie that got like really popular, like for like a
Sure.
South Korean movie. So in that way too, I think it's really significant, spreading like knowledge of great international cinema to a wider audience.
It feels
And
appropriate. Whatever else you think about his filmography, it feels appropriate that that's the film that sort of catapulted. Like if
Mhm.
you're going to have a South Korean picture win best picture, and it's going to be a Bong film, it that feels right. Like maybe that perfect clockwork quality to it isn't the reason that feels right to me, but it just does.
Well, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well, which I think is Tarantino's best movie. And that's
wild.
another great hangout movie, along with
It
The
is,
Dead
yeah.
Don't Die, a great double feature there.
So to give us the short reason, and we could spend an hour on that film or more, of why you think that's his best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's a lot easier to connect with the characters in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood than his other movies. And I think there's a lot more pathos to their arcs and just the whole context of the movie of Tarantino's love letter to that age of Hollywood and the stars fading out of their prime and well rewriting history at the end, sure, presenting like a an alternate reality. It's just so immersive, like the attention to detail with like the sets and the music and everything. Like it really feels like you're there. And it is a little, I guess, a little aimless in some ways, but it all feels like it's just like a time capsule that I can jump back into and just soak in the atmosphere of it. And yeah, I understand like some of the politics of it are a little bit questionable for sure, but I just really, really enjoy it. So
I love the way you just described that movie. It makes me want to watch it right now. Like, because if anything, I love luxuriating, and Tarantino in that movie is great vibes. You know, the thing about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that was revealed in his novel version is that it was really like a poem to his parents and his own growing up. So I can understand why you feel that sort of connection to it, because I think there is a lot of Tarantino's heart within it.
well, we also got The Lighthouse, a big
Mm.
swerve there, which I feel
Why'd you
like it's a
spill your
movie like
beans?
I still don't quite understand exactly what's going on in it, but it's another movie like a different kind of atmosphere. I keep being drawn back to like that kind of it's just rising intensity, like same with climax, like it feels like a pressure cooker. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just immersed in this.
My
Yeah.
least favorite Robert Eggers movie, but I've seen it a bunch of times, and I have a painting of William Dafoe as this character on my wall. So that says
That's
that tells you
awesome.
how much what my least favorite Robert Eggers movie is. It's still a pretty fucking great movie.
Yeah. And we got Midsummer as well, another A24 horror movie, which
Did that come out that year?
did
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
Oh
it
my
did, right? Yeah.
God.
crazy year, crazy year. Alex, like I saw Alex at a screening, and I was like, 2019, really? Was that a great movie year? And then I started like looking at the Letterboxd list, and he convinced me. I'm like, okay, yeah, this was a bigger year. I didn't
Can
think
I,
about it at the time, but yeah, we didn't know what we had. But 2019 was a great movie year.
Hmm.
you know what I think is going to be a great movie year is this one that we're
Yeah,
in right
Hmm.
now.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
very enthusiastic of this year so far. But yes, 2019, sure. Yeah. Midsummer, I got to ask real quick. Theatrical or directors?
I haven't seen the director's cut yet.
All
Mm.
right.
Still need to
Yeah,
do
I'll
that.
bring
Yeah.
it like I
Directors.
bought the A24 very special 4K thing.
Oh,
Directors.
Directors, because
Directors.
Christian's dickishness is dialed up by like 15%,
Yeah.
just
It
enough,
makes
just
makes
enough.
Makes perfect sense. All right, Midsummer, Bear Burning, Found Families.
Well, we got The Art of Self-Defense, which is
Oh
another
yeah, I mentioned Riley Stearns earlier.
Yeah, but I feel like that's another underrated movie. People don't really talk about that. Same with Duel, which I also love.
You have to be on his wavelength. Like, if you're not down for that completely bone dry delivery of all his characters, it's not necessarily your thing. But I'm with you. I like that movie a lot. Maybe one of the better movies that really confronts toxic masculinity, as much as that's become a sort of buzzword. Like, that movie feels like it's really addressing it head on in a way that not many other films do, and doing it in a very funny way.
And we also got Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah.
Which is another kind of pressure cooker movie.
Speaking of exhausting movies, Jesus Christ.
I gotta tell you, that movie is such a comfort movie to me. Like, what?
This is how this is how you win. This is how you win,
This is
John.
how I win. Yeah. Holy shit! I'm gonna Uncut Gems. I can't. The A24 is doing a thing where they're re-releasing some of their films on IMAX, and Uncut Gems is one of them. Can you imagine?
Oh my
could
God.
just like smell Howie's breath. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm sick and twisted. That's a comfort watch for me.
And I mean, on a lighter note, there's Knives Out as well. Which, I mean, I am a fan of Knives Out, but like that movie feels too clean to me.
It is very clean. It and its sequel are both very, the Clockwork thing I'm talking about is there too.
But they're still enjoyable.
Whodunit should be clockworky.
Yeah.
Is my pushback there. Like, they should feel like that, and he gets that.
Yeah, he totally gets it.
Yeah, and Avengers Endgame also came out in 2019, which I haven't rewatched since I saw it in theaters, but the experience, I mean, like, I feel like superhero fatigue had not fully set in yet, at least for Marvel. And it was just, that felt like a satisfying conclusion to everything they had been building up for. So
I'm not a Marvel guy. I hadn't seen a lot of them. Went kind of blind into Endgame and still kind of had that fist bumping experience. Like, oh, I totally get it. Even though there's so much dead space, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Some of that script is just like, there's so much about it that is nightmare to me in a bad way compared to the nightmare of Uncut Gems. But still, ultimately, I understand. I understand why you would name that one.
I prefer Infinity War, and that's only just because I'm a pessimist weirdo who loves downer endings.
Very
like when that movie when Infinity War ended and it like just cut to black, I was like, I literally fist bump and said, yes, they fucking did it. They made a movie that made everybody feel awful. I love it. So yeah, that's my critique is the Endgame was too crowd pleasy. We needed more bleak people die for real shit.
Yeah. But I remember just everyone crying, everyone was getting, it was wild in the theater in Kirksville.
I will say we have not really had that level of like 100% pop cultural moment that everybody bought in. Like I don't even think like Jurassic Park at its height or anything like had that level of literally everybody went to that movie for about a month. It was crazy. Titanic maybe? And Titanic wasn't part of a 26 freaking film fan prize or whatever.
I mean, the thing that comes closest to me is like May, December, when that took over
over your life completely for 6 months straight.
Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, so we got Joker as well. I can't believe that also came out in 2019. But...
Isn't that wild? Like that year, and then that's like an Oscar darling. I hate that movie. I am excited for Folie à Deux. That trailer,
so am I.
That trailer will sell you.
Is it going to be a musical? Like I'm getting the impression that it might be a musical.
That's what's exciting. I want someone to take risks, and that film is pretty risky for what it is on the surface. But then you watch it, and it's just like rehash of.
Yeah,
I don't like Joker either, but I do like the way it looks. I'll give it that. I really wish we could do more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really wish we would get more sort of, and I don't want to say it's the best since Burton's, but in the same way that Burton had a distinctive thing he was going for, he's like, let me make Batman as an expressionist, German expressionist film. I will give Phillips props and his production design crew for saying, let's make a Batman movie that's set in New York, the New York Shitty of the 1970s. And like they 100% made a believable Gotham within that sphere. So I've always given it props for just being kind of a coolly designed film.
And Joaquin Phoenix, I think his performance is, I mean, he's definitely going for it, whether or not it's good or not.
Well, I don't think anybody, see, the thing is that all the criticisms I've heard of Joker, I don't think anybody says, well, he's just straight up bad in it. Like, you think he's bad in it? I don't
He's
think
doing
he's
Freddie Quell, but not good. Like
That's
it
fair.
is the math. It's the same thing. Like all of the ways he
The
contorts his
contortions.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I still
the
like him in
script is
it.
of no service to him.
No, it's not a good movie, but I still like him in it.
Yeah. So yeah, we got The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which I really enjoy.
Love.
Um,
Such a wonderful like friendship cinema. And also about, you know, the broken housing problem that we have in the country.
Great
It
vibe
has
cinema.
just-
I don't think that director's done anything since. I'm hoping he comes back.
I
Yeah.
think he does have something coming up, but what a beautiful film.
I know it just has like that whole opening. It's just so
Oh,
so cinematic. It's incredible. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, Queen and Slim, which I also really enjoyed,
I think that movie's underrated. Yeah.
and Dragged Across Concrete, controversial pick, but
Another underrated movie. That is a film that is the ultimate test for depiction is not endorsement. Like, can you,
Right.
can you understand this film?
yeah, and then I also have Irishman and Marriage Story on my list, but I know you had that on your list, Josh. So
We're a big we like the Irishman in this house. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just a couple of old guys thinking about life and killing Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, I've got quite a few things on my list. Towards the bottom, I don't know that any of this is ranked. Just stuff you haven't mentioned, which I'll save the Christian Petzold of it all for Andrew. Carlos Regatta had Regattas Our Time. Andrew and I saw at True Falls together. Very comfortable watch, just sitting next to each other, watching a 3-hour film about polyamorism.
And like cattle ranching in the
cattle
playa,
ranching, right?
like...
Yeah, something about the cows are people too. I don't remember. I liked it at the time. The Beach Bum, Harmony Korine. We've talked about that recently. Christophe Honoré's Sorry Angel, Zhazenka, Ash's Purest White, his latest film. Mariel Heller, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I believe that was Kayla's #1 of that year. I think that's just a beautiful film. Kent Jones, the critic, his film Diane with Mary Kay Place, Welcome to Chechnya, Hustlers, Gerwig's Little Women, Matty Diop. Where is your follow-up to Atlantique? Please. All right, I'm gonna give you my 10 as it was then. Some of this might move around as I think too hard about it. Steven Soderbergh's High Flying Bird.
Oh yeah.
What an underrated, beautifully iPhone shot movie. The movie just zigs and zags and has this great like rat-a-tat-tat screenplay to it, but it's so smart about the not only like sports industry, but the role of race in our class built structure, culture,
and labor and commercialism and everything.
Yeah. And exploitation of labor. Yeah. Pedro Moldovar's auto critique, Pain and Glory. Gosh, I have not seen that since 2019. Need to rewatch it. Marriage Story. Okay, so the rest of these movies I watch a lot. I don't watch The Irishman a lot, but I have seen it a few times since. Asako 1 and 2, that's Ryusuke Hamaguchi's riff on like Vertigo and teen romance. It's just, God damn it. Also such a great cat movie. I watch Her Smell a lot. Talk about a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Wow. Uncut Gems, The Irishman. I'm going to switch my 2 and 3 as I look at them. My number 3 is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Can't
Oh,
believe
yes,
that hasn't
yes.
come up yet. Although I think maybe some people consider that a 2020 release, but it was
No,
campaigned in
2019,
2019.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jordan Peele's Us. I think
Mhm.
most people would call it an imperfect film. I don't care. It's something I think about all the time. It's been culturally important to me.
Yeah, Us is genuinely creepy. Like it's
Mm.
scary.
So fucking scary. It is so scary. I was thinking the other day about Alexa Call the Police, and it just plays fuck the police. My number
What
one
an
is
Elizabeth Moss year too.
You know, if she was doing her Scientology right, she'd be on top of everything and not just television. She's got to get to know Xenu better. I am allegedly, I don't know what to say after that. I love her to death. Long Day's Journey in Space.
This wasn't on my 2019 list. Is this not a 2019 film
It was
officially?
number 1 on your list.
Maybe I was a year behind. Were we a year behind when it was actually
No.
came out?
We both had it because we both had it on our lists. And we both, okay, the Letterboxd year is 2018. It came out in the
Okay,
States in 2019.
that's why I missed it. Okay.
Yeah. But if
All
you
right.
were to look at the lens,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Who knows?
I still need to see that one. I haven't
Well,
seen it.
you have an opportunity, and
I
you'll
don't think
never be
it's
able to
sold-
see it in 3D again.
Which I've never seen it in 3D. So I have the Tivoli in a normal presentation. So I'm really eager to see it in the 3D presentation. This movie rules. I can't even explain what this movie rules. This movie just rules, beginning to end.
It's the best. It's the best. Andrew, what about you?
So I'm going to go through my lists in a somewhat random order, but picking over things that you guys haven't mentioned yet. Technically, I guess this was technically a 2020 film on our list, Josh, but it's 2019 according to Letterboxd. This is not a burial. This is a resurrection.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah,
film.
another fucking secret banger.
Ad Astra, another favorite of mine.
Mhm.
Talked about James Gray last week, I think. The Farewell, which is Lulu Wang, movie that kind of snuck up. I did not expect it going in to find out to end up being one of my favorite movies of the year and kind of snuck up on me, just blew me away. I mentioned Roy Anderson earlier. His film about Endlessness was that year. Filippo Managhetti's film Two of Us, which I'd hardly hear anybody else talk about these. Josh, if you haven't seen this, you need to see it right away. It's the
I reviewed it for us. I just didn't expect you to recommend it.
Oh yeah, I love that film. Just a like heart-shattering film. I love it.
Yes.
Atlantis, not Atlantics, which is also great, but Atlantis by the great Ukrainian filmmaker Valentin. Another movie that in his sort of emerging canon of like great near future long take bleak magnificence. Saint Maud, which I believe was the first film we ever talked about on this podcast.
Episode number 1.
Yeah. La Llorona, another horror film from that year I absolutely love. Josh, you didn't mention Baccarat?
That's on my 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
This is
I-
where
A
the
lot
year
of these
Baccarat-
films were carried over, and like the closer we get in proximity to the year, I like have a list from that year. If I were to go, and this is why something we haven't really gotten into in this series is like the validity or usefulness of using the year as a measurement in like the way that film is evolving. But as a like time capsule, for this one, I went back to my like actual published list, and a lot of the films that you're mentioning, I think, have like the COVID stink on them for me. Like I think of First Cow is a COVID film. In fact, I think it was my number 1 of 2020, but I know it had that festival run beforehand.
Rewind, an incredible documentary by Sasha Neulinger, which nobody fucking talks about. It was on PBS Frontline, I think. I Lost My Body, a great animated film. Burning Cane.
The Hand?
Yeah, The Hand.
The Hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Burning Cane by Philip Youmans. Again, a tiny film on Netflix that nobody talks about. Absolute stunning debut feature. Klaus, great animated Christmas movie. If I had my way, we'd throw the Polar Express into the sun and everybody would watch that every year. Clemency, A Hidden Life. Terrence Malick, one of Terrence Malick's sort of late great masterpieces. You mentioned the Gerwig Little Women, which I love. Honeyland, One Child Nation, another great documentary. Beanpole, when nobody talks about Beanpole. One of the great Russian movies of the last 5 years. things get a little fuzzier here. Do we count the Breaking Bad film El Camino, which I think is astonishing piece of work, great coda. The Souvenir, isn't that not a 2019 film on your list, Josh?
Yeah, I just don't like The Souvenir as much as The Souvenir 2.
Really?
I'm a Souvenir boy.
And the Eternal Daughter boy, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Memory, Origin of Alien, which I think is Alexander Philippe's best movie about movies he's made to date. You mentioned Black Man in San Francisco. Apollo 11, another great documentary. Beyonce's Homecoming, maybe one of my favorite concert films of the last 10 years. Mustang, Booksmart, Hope, and At 13,000 Feet, The Fever. I mean, I could go on for a while here.
Yeah. Pretty good year, Alex. I'll give you that.
Or did you mention Honey Boy? That came out.
That film's like reputation.
Like,
I like Honey Boy a lot, but I don't know how to feel about it now.
Yeah, that's right.
For a lot of reasons.
Too. Yeah.
To her credit, the director.
In that.
What's that?
FKA Twigs in that.
Yeah.
Is that Shia LaBeouf thing?
Yeah.
Got it. Just remembered all of it. Yep.
Yeah. To her credit, director Alma Harrell, I think the things that she's doing in that film that are good are her things, and she seems to have been as blindsided by everything about it as anybody else. So I'm kind of eager to see what she does next.
Yeah.
Liked it at the time. Don't know how to feel about it now.
I know. I've had trouble. I've never quite been able to rewatch it all the way through since, but I did really like it when I first watched it for sure. But
we don't know how good we had it. Anyway, and yet it was still pretty bad. Hey, look, I'm totally fine. The recent past hasn't done anything to my mental health.
No.
Don't worry about me. I'm okay. Because now I've got one more thing. All right, Alex, you're sticking around. You're going to give us one more thing. That's something that we're all kind of thinking about, talking about, reading about, alphabetizing about. Hey, Andrew, I alphabetized some books this past week. That is not my one more thing. I wanted to talk about, do either of you know or listen to the podcast Normal Gossip? Okay, Normal Gossip is it? Yeah, it's a pretty popular podcast. Recommending it at this point is like recommending Lost Culturistas or something. But Normal Gossip is hosted by author Kelsey McKinney, and essentially what it is crowd-generated gossip story. One each episode. Every episode turns into the best piece of like bullshit folklore that you'll hear. There are episodes about like murder binders. There are episodes about lesbian aunts who take over weddings. There's an episode about a chair. There's an episode about a landlord who's also my best friend, but he's also not my best friend because he's our secret landlord. So every episode gets into real deep into the lore of this very specific community or these people's lives in a way that is a lot of fun. And whether or not it's completely true, I don't care, because it's always
sounds very
storytelling.
It sounds very Reddit-y.
It is a little Reddit-y. Like one thing that's come up a lot is the story about the woman who accidentally poops in her one night stand's toilet and then gets herself locked out of the apartment. A story that has been told many, many different times in various iterations. But they do a whole investigation of that story.
That almost sounds like urban legend, like a story, an anecdote that's become an urban legend.
It has, yes, it has. But it's always a lot of fun because they get into the idea of like the political ramifications of what gossip does or is about, the actual value of gossip, and the way that gossip is like modern or cultural storytelling, the way that it's a bonding mechanism. And every episode there's a guest, and Kelsey sort of talks the guest through the gossip. So it's always very participatory, very fun. They're in their 5th season now, so going strong. It's Normal Gossip. And now there's some book. They've got a book coming out too. It's just a lot of fun. It's something.
Where's our book?
I'm good. It's coming soon. as I understand it. Okay, we're not talking about it. But anyway, that's Normal Gossip. You can find that on podcatcher of your choice, just like the Take Up. It's where you can find me. Find me on our local radio station, KDHX. I've started doing some spots on there.
Ooh.
Yeah. And at Crispy Retinas on the socials, on my favorite Red app, Instagram.
Red. I'm never going to let you live that down.
Love my callbacks. All right, Alex, what about you? Do you have one more thing?
Yes. So I'm watching the Apple TV Plus series Slow Horses for a third time going through it. Like,
third
yes.
time? Okay,
Yes.
I gotta watch this thing because it seems right up my alley.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of MI5 rejects kind of working together. Gary Oldman is really a rough looking character named Jackson Lamb. We also got Jack Lowden and Kristen Scott Thomas. So it fills that like British humor spy story, and just it's amazing. Like there's so many little details in it. It's just one of those things you can just rewatch constantly and just pick up little things every time you watch it. And it's funny, it's violent, it's intense, it's got everything you'd want. And I feel like a lot of people it's gone under the radar a little bit. Like, I mean, I know it has another season coming up, but I feel like it deserves more recognition for sure. So
Well, I think that's Apple TV Plus's thing, right? It's like, unless you scroll by the app, you're never going to know something exists.
The people who are like, speaking as somebody who loves Severance and tells everybody they meet about Severance, like it does seem to inspire, like its shows seem to inspire really devoted fan bases. I've had people sort of talk my ear off about For All Mankind and like how I absolutely need to be watching For All Mankind.
So I'm a big John Le Carre fan. Is this going to scratch that itch for me?
yes. And
Okay.
yeah, it's based on a series by McPherson as well, a book series. So
Book series.
yeah.
All right. Very cool. And so that's on Apple TV Plus, the series Slow Horses. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at gdogmcp, and I also write reviews for Pop Life STL.
Very cool. Thanks, Alex. What about Andrew?
I binged my way through Amazon's new Fallout series, like apparently a lot of people did. Enjoyed myself. This is the new series based on Bethesda GameWorks' long-running game series. Showrunners are Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy of Westworld fame. I was a little nervous about this. I'm not a huge Fallout fan, but I do like it as a series. So I was a little nervous about whether this was even going to work as a TV show, and I was pretty impressed with it. They do sort of solid TV fundamentals. They set up sort of three different characters with slightly different perspectives on the world and sort of let them collide with each other and then sort of stumble around the world. It's a show that doesn't hold your hand a lot. So I'm interested to see how it plays with people who have no idea about the video game franchise and what its sort of alternate historical reality timeline is all about, because it sort of just throws you into this parallel universe that's like Earth, but not like Earth, and asks you to sort of accept it and just roll with it. So it has some issues, that a lot of streaming series based on franchises have, but I feel like it does the most trickiest thing, which is Fallout has a very strange tone. It's humorous, but also dark, but also sort of has a retro-futurist style to it, but it also has a sort of dark apocalyptic edge. It's a very tricky tone, and I feel like the series did the most difficult thing, which is that it nailed that tone very effectively. And it inspired me to go back and start playing Fallout 4 again, so I guess that's the highest recommendation you can give to a video game adaptation, is it makes you want to go back and play the game again.
There's more of an element of surprise to it than like The Last of Us show, I guess, which I also really like. But with the Fallout show, it's like they are new stories for the show, correct?
Yeah, and my understanding is actually that the TV show is canon, like that it actually is takes place in the same. The Fallout games are sort of unique in that they all takes place in the same general universe, but each story is independent. It's not quite anthology, but like every story is a unique story that happens in a different time period in a different location. And the show seems to be taking that track as well. It's perfectly, everything that happens in the show is apparently perfectly consistent with all the previous games, and that it seems to be canonical. But yeah, like it doesn't there's no beat for beat adaptation of a game. It's just set in the same universe. So unlike Last of Us, it's not like, if you know the story, you know exactly what's going to happen. Like nothing playing the previous all the Fallout games, any of them will not prepare you for what actually happens plot wise in this show. It's a completely new thing with a banger cast. Walton Goggins is getting a lot of praise. Kyle MacLachlan's in it. Just Ella Purnell from Yellow Jackets. Just a pretty good cast.
That's on Amazon Prime. Where can people find you, Andrew?
You can find me on Letterboxd at AY76.
And all of us at The Take Up, that's the take-up.com, and at the Take Up STL. Alex McPherson, Pop Life STL. Find your byline all over the internet. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was really fun.
We'll have you back on again, but we do have a new series coming up. We're doing a series of queer classics named To Be Determined. That's films pre-1960 that are in the queer canon. There you go, queer canon.
Right.
And I'm just going to do canon with a Q. We'll have a few guests on. We're going to talk about The Closet. And
or not
shame,
so closeted.
Shame, or not
depending
so
on the
closeted.
film.
I don't know. It depends. We might get pretty crazy in that closet. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun just in time for Pride Month. Thank you once more to Alex. And thank you to Kayla McCullough for our social media, Jessica Pierce, our editor, and our theme music by AMP. Until then, I don't know. I guess you better do your queer classic readings.
Bone up, as it were.
Oh my God.